Hey everybody, what's up, what's up, what's up? My name is Jordan Abrell and I'm making another video for today. I can't talk. Today I'm making another video about circumcision, as I do every day. And today I want to make a video talking about a request I had from Dennis, who's one of my favorite people. He's from Brazil. He's great. He's a big forager and supporter and asks great questions. He wants to know why, for me and for other men, it's so important to experience sexual pleasure, and why, for circumcised men, this should really be something that we need to think about deeply. And for me, personally, I've always seen sexuality as the most beautiful, wonderful, amazing thing that can happen for two human beings. It's this thing that evolved for us over billions of years that is specifically designed to give us as much pleasure as possible, especially in humans. We have very, very specially designed genitals, especially the foreskin itself actually is very unique in humans. It's extremely innervated, more so than any other part of the penis by far. And it's basically a guy's clitoris. It's there just for pleasure, and it's part of what makes us human, really. So, it's a divine connection. It's on an emotional level, it's on a spiritual level, it's on a physical level, and I'm just talking about sex generally, and that's why I've always loved sex. I've always thought it was so beautiful. And I always loved my penis. I thought it was great for a really long time, like just the best thing in the world, and didn't have any issues with it really. And didn't know, that it could have been different than it was. I didn't really know anything about circumcision. And yeah, it was always just one of my greatest joys in life, money doesn't really make people happy. Power doesn't really make people happy. There's other things you can do in life that are fulfilling, like good work is great, and having fulfilling relationships. But the best part of fulfilling relationships is great sex with the person that you love the most. And so it's hard to beat, really. Sexuality has always been something I just care really, really deeply about. And so when I discovered circumcision, it really took that away from me. It really, really realizing what I'd lost and how much more I could have. I thought orgasms were nice, they were great, like, they're cool, but they weren't explosive. It wasn't like earth-shattering. It wasn't like my whole body was like trembling and and lasting for many seconds or minutes. It wasn't just pure divine ecstasy, like being shot to another fucking planet, as many intact men seem to describe it, at least a lot more often than circumcised men. They describe just having way, way, way better orgasms, as well as enjoying the journey of sex itself. For circumcised men, it's kind of like it's about this thing, and it's like getting there, and then there's this release. But for intact men, you can really, really enjoy every second of it because there's so much sensitivity. You enjoy every moment along the way, and there's no rush to get to climax so much because there's so much sensitivity there. There's so much to experience. That's not like a female thing. That's just a human thing. It's just that guys aren't really able to get in touch with that anymore because of the damage, both physically and perhaps psychologically and emotionally, that this causes. So, that's really why sex is so important, why pleasure is so important, because experiencing pleasure is part of what it means to be human, and really, to me, it's kind of the point of life in a way. There's different levels of pleasure, different kind of pleasures, and there's different things that are important to different people. I've heard from other circumcised friends of mine that they just don't really care about sex that much because they don't really feel anything. And when they've discovered how damaging circumcision is, it actually psychologically scarred them so deeply that they don't want to have sex at all anymore, because it's just painful even to think about it, much less do something sexual. So, which is so sad, because these are men who love sex, who enjoy it, who think it's beautiful and wonderful and powerful and exciting. You know, there's so much joy that can be had from that experience. Some people tend to, especially people who are very religious or very sort of intellectual, tend to put down sex as though it's something that's not important. But the most profound people I've met in life, and even some of the most deeply, well, definitely the most, several spiritually aware people that I know, value sex as one of the very top things on their list. Like, it's really a brainwashing of society that ever even teaches us not to value it. I mean, of course it's valuable, and you know, there's a lot of other things that are valuable, certainly intellectual pursuit and understanding, you know, emotional intelligence and relationships, food. For some people, they like food a lot. I've never been that into food. I'd rather have sex once a year than have gourmet cooking every day. That's just how I am. And so a lot of guys are. They just think sex is really, really amazing and wonderful. And they should have the right to experience that the way that nature intended. They should have the right to enjoy that thing that God granted us, that, or if you just believe in the universe, that we just got really, really lucky to have, because it's the best feeling in the world. Like, it really is, and there's no end to the depth of pleasure you can experience in sex. Even if you're circumcised, you can still experience a lot of pleasure. If you found out about circumcision, unfortunately, there's a good chance that you get really upset about it, especially if you learn a lot about it. And so it becomes really difficult to enjoy it, and takes a lot of psychological healing to get back to square one, or not even square one, because you still are missing all that sensitivity, you're still missing a lot. And there's those psychological barriers to enjoying it on top of it, especially for men circumcised as adults who know what they're missing. You know, I've heard them say it's really a special kind of hell. And I would push back on that and say, well, you know, there's a special kind of hell to both sides, to also having had your parents mutilate you, and to always spend like every second of every day like wondering what you're missing, and knowing that you'll never know what it feels like to be a human being, to be a man, is also painful. But either way, it's not right. It's not right to cut off part of your baby's penis, and that's why we're working to grow it back, with Foreskin, trying to regenerate the human foreskin. And that's why we need to continue raising awareness about this and help everybody understand what you're missing. I think a lot of people do understand why sexual pleasure is valuable. You know, it's also really good for basically your well-being in all areas of your life. It helps your mental well-being. It helps you perform better academically. It helps you perform better physically. It helps you experience better relationships. Having sexual pleasure. There's a book called Ecstasy is Necessary, which I've heard is really good. Haven't actually read it yet, but experiencing incredible levels of ecstasy and pleasure is really, really good for us on so many levels. Helps brain development, helps us experience life in a positive way. I mean, besides just it feeling really good and being basically the best feeling you can have, it also helps you with all those other areas of life as well, and helps them flow more easily. So for all those reasons, we need to keep spreading the word about this. We need to keep talking about it. We need to understand it for ourselves, like have that goal really firmly in our mind, and know what we're working towards, and know why this is so important to us, and why I'd give anything to have that back. You know, it's, who gives a shit about a big house or about having fancy cars, living on a beachside, if I don't have my whole fucking body and can't experience pleasure in the best part of my body that's designed to feel pleasure, like that's the whole point of it, then what's the point of any of that? There's just no comparison. So yeah, hope you guys consider investing in Foreskin very soon, as it's going to be available to the public to invest in, which means you can not only help this cause succeed and help us get our foreskins back really soon, because it is going to happen, and there's a lot of people who want it, and there's a lot of people who want to make money off of it too, and it's an incredible investment for a few $1 million to create a multi-billion-dollar industry with all the men who are going to very soon understand what they're missing and know that the part of your penis with the most nerves that has all these functions, that protects your glands, that provides the gliding function, which is extremely pleasurable, makes it so you don't need lube to masturbate or have sex, etc., etc., etc. Makes your penis larger, better functioning. The list is pretty long. There's a lot of reasons that it evolved to be there like it is, and so it's really exciting that we're going to get it back and be able to feel pleasure the way that we were supposed to. So, thanks so much for watching, guys. As always, I will talk to you again tomorrow.